And everybody else who has put into the chat. I'm really happy to have you here, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So, again, my name is Steve Foster, and hopefully, we'll be joined by Blanca and Luis as far as kind of the core team for Spanish for Educators. Um, the objectives for today, first of all, is just to be able to introduce you to the 2026 Guatemala trip, and also to be able to kind of get some perspective from the alumni as far as that goes, as well as explore ways for funding. I know as educators, that isn't always the easiest as far as, financially making it happen as far as a trip like this, but on the professional development side, in various conversations, we've also talked about how compared to a lot of the different conferences that are out there and stuff like that, it's very manageable as far as comparable to other things that people are spending their time and resources with. So we'll try to make it so you can kind of explore those different options as well, with various funding options. So first of all, and then also finally to be able to kind of get into some alumni partnership opportunities, especially for those alumni that are on the call. Um, so as far as an introduction, we've got our 11th cohort coming up. We've had over 125 educators so far, 9 repeat trips, 9 U.S. states and 2 countries. Yes, the country was the Bahamas, but still. And then when I say educator, I mean truly like not just teachers, but various capacities of education, anybody that impacts students, K-12 and actually K-16. That's who we're talking about as far as anybody is eligible, as well as their family. We have had a lot of children. We've had a lot of partners of educators. My 2 kids, I've got a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old. They're planning on making the trip this summer. So yeah, it's a very, very tight-knit organization as far as that goes. And I do want to, well, maybe I'll keep that until they get here. Let me just see if I can. Oh, here we go. We got Leslie, we got Valentina, we got Jennifer, another Leslie. Okay. Okay. So a base kind of what as far as the program. I have the calendar is on the screen, so you'll see that we're shifting the dates a little bit this year. Typically, we've been in the right after 4th of July season, just kind of do your 4th of July stuff and then head down to Guatemala. Part of it's a selfish reason because my older child is into competitive swimming, and we want to make sure that she can kind of get some of her meets in and stuff like that. But I've also been told by Blanca and Luis and Sodi and the kind of team there in Guatemala that it's a really, and I've been there in that part of the season as well. And a lot of times the rain hasn't started to hit yet because it is the rainy season that we're down there, especially in July. So chances are that we might be able to get a little bit better weather. But it really just depends. There's also sometimes in July it's just perfectly sunny and nice. So it just kind of depends as far as that goes. Um, so the core trip this year is going to be from June 7th to the 20th. And then we do have some extension options. So we have had quite a few people in the past that want to make it a little bit more of a comprehensive program. And so they'll add in anywhere from 2+ weeks, either before or after. It's really your choice. So I like that element as far as making it customizable. We also have a really cool experience at Lake Atitlan, which I'm hoping that maybe the alumni can kind of touch base as far as like what that's all about. That's on that middle weekend. So for this trip, it'll be on the 13th and 14th of June. And we'll actually be headed back on the 15th. So it's typically about a 2-night time there at the lake, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Just an amazing scenic and also archaeological site as well. And then we also have at the end of the experience is a optional Tikal trip that does involve a plane ride, a domestic flight from Guatemala City to Tikal back. That would be starting on the 20th of June and then going all the way through the 22nd. And then we spend the night in Guatemala City right by the airport on the 22nd, and you'd schedule your flight home on the 23rd. So though that's kind of a gist as far as the trip goes. You can see on there that there's also some um, activities that are kind of spelled out as far as what that looks like. And at this time, I would also like to be able to invite our alumni. And I'm just going to kind of go down my list here as far as to be able to unmute and to be able to say, out of all the things that are listed on here, just in general, what your favorite part was of the trip. So on the top for me, I've got Ali and Micah. So if you guys wouldn't mind, if you're ready to be able to unmute and say what out of all of this stuff was your favorite of your cohort. And if I remember correctly, Ali and Micah, you guys were 24, right? And they
Unmute.
might,
Hi,
they
how do we
hello.
unmute? Hi, we are tech savvy, not really. All right. So Micah and I can't figure out how to get our video back, but my favorite part was actually the classes and getting to know my teacher and her daughter. Micah, what was your favorite part of Guatemala? Can you tell everyone? Did you like the classes? Can you say that? I like licuados. He liked getting to eat licuados and he liked getting to try all the food. That's what he's trying to say.
Micah, it's so great to hear your voice, man. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yep, we will remute and drive home and then we'll get the video going.
All right, thanks, Ali. Okay, so next on my list here, we've got Libby. What was your favorite part? And Libby, by the way, is one of those returners that I mentioned. We were so fortunate to have Libby go back this past year. So, Libby, what made you want to go back and what was your favorite?
I just loved being, well, first of all, I love to travel, but I never know where to go and who to go with. So this was the perfect opportunity for me to practice my Spanish. You forgot to mention that we survived the earthquakes.
Yes.
Um, yeah. What I think overall is it's like a big family. You're always taken care of no matter what happens. So that was probably the best part of my trip is just knowing, like, I love Sori, I love Luis, I love, I love everybody. Everybody's there to help each other, and whether you're a beginner or advanced, I feel like everyone's there to help. And
That
I
really
love
means
going
a
to
lot, Libby.
the school. I like the school a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much. And just to kind of build on that, we definitely try to make it so it's kind of a tight-knit group. So that really means a lot that you kind of feel that way as well. And uh, we do have a special guest. Well, we'll do that here in a little bit. So, gracias por venir, Blanca. ¿Cómo estás? Okay, next on my list is Kelsey. Kelsey is our most veteran, we'll just say, returner and alumni out of the people that are here on the call. So, Kelsey, if you could remind me what year it was that you were on the trip and what was your favorite part?
Okay, I think I'm unmuted. Am I good?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, awesome. So yes, I think because my brain goes all over the place, but I think that I was there for the summer of 2016 because I had just finished like my first year teaching, I think in 2014-ish, like so 2014, 2015 year, and then that second year 15 to 16 is when I actually did Spanish for educators. So it's been amazing. I love the experience. I'm just like a really passionate, bubbly person who likes to kind of get in there, right? And so, with that being said, I enjoyed hiking Volcan Pacaya. Like it's a volcano that we had like assistance with in hiking, and we got up there to the top, and it was like it had just erupted probably a few days ago or something. We just missed it, but it was like magma, and it was hot, and there's all these things. So that was cool. I really enjoyed my teacher. I believe her name was Miss Amelia, and we were like best friends for like the whole trip, and we clicked immediately, and we did things together. We took pictures, we got ice cream together, we just really enjoyed ourselves. Coupled with that, I remember my host family, like my host mother, and I think my street name was like El Calle DSA Nueve Norte or something like that. But her house was amazing, her food was so great, and it was just like a blast. Like I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and I really enjoyed meeting other educators from throughout the country. I think in my cohort there were people from Maryland, California, and New York, because well, I was from New York, but I'm still from New York. There's that. That doesn't really change. And and I think one other place I can't remember, but even just kind of collaborating in that regard of just kind of like, oh, this is our network now. We can continue to build these relationships. We can do this every year if we wanted to. It was just a blast, and I'm not paid to say any of these things. I don't even think anyone knew I was coming today, but it is worth the experience. It is worth the trip. If you have any reservations, throw them out the window because the value is more than those fears. So enjoy. Please go.
Thanks so much, Kelsey. That really means a lot. And
Yeah,
just to refer
no
back
worries.
to one of the things that Kelsey said on the calendar here, we've got the 12th, which is Friday. You get to choose either in the morning, there's that volcano hike. That's not for everybody. So if that's not for you, I mean, it's kind of a bucket list in my opinion, but that's not how everybody is. And it is an active volcano, just like she said. So, depending on how the volcano's flowing, they do have like this opportunity to be able to roast marshmallows, like using the magma. And so the guide that we have like brings these marshmallows and you get to like stick it into the vent. And sometimes you can actually see the magma, but a lot of times it's just like the steam, the vapor. So yeah, that's a really great experience. But if you'd rather, you can just continue taking your Spanish class. And like Kelsey also said, like it's a private Spanish class, so you can kind of go out and get coffee, or you can kind of like walk to the park or go to the market or different things like that, since it is a private Spanish lesson. So that's good to hear that you really enjoyed that as well. I think next is Lisa. Good to have you, Lisa.
Thanks for having me. Hi, guys. Um,
Hello.
my name is Lisa. I currently live in Colorado, originally from Maryland. I have been to Guatemala twice with this program, and I plan to go back again this summer. Steve, you asked me to pick my favorite part. It's really hard to pick my favorite part just because I loved my homestay. I loved visiting El Hato. I feel like both trips I made new friends that I've kept. I see a lot of them here right now. So, hi, guys. And I took advantage of going to Tikal, going to Lake Atitlan, going to Volcan de Pacaya. Steve and I actually one weekend on a trip hiked Acatenango and Fuego together. I took advantage of staying a week extra on one of my trips. It was also worth it. And just so you know, my background prior to my 2023 trip, I had maybe tried Duolingo for about a year. Right before that trip, I started taking private lessons with Blanca, and she and I have been doing weekly lessons for a little more than 2 years now. So if you're a newbie, or even if you're not a newbie and you want some to improve your Spanish, I really, really highly recommend that. So I hope to see you there.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And I believe Lori, if it's the Lori that I'm thinking about, then I want to hear what you thought as well. Is this like Loveland, Lori? Maybe not. So anyways, thank you very much to our alumni for kind of giving your perspective. And is there anybody else who's an alumni that I'm missing that wants to say something at this time? Because Jennifer, we've had a few Jennifers as well. So I'm not ignoring you, Jennifer, if you're an alumni Jennifer. Okay. So at this time, I'd like to give it up to Blanca because Blanca, and I'll go
Mhm.
back to that slide that has a little bit of information about Blanca. And I believe that her son Boris is also on the call. And so, Blanca, por favor, si puede decir algo para introducir al grupo y para decir un poco sobre por qué estamos juntos por tan tiempo en este programa.
Hola Steve, hola grupo, ¿cómo están? Me llamo Blanca Solares, soy la persona responsable de organizar en esta parte el viaje. Hemos trabajado con Steve por largo tiempo y ha sido una experiencia muy buena. Yo soy una maestra de español y me gusta mucho mi trabajo. Y también me gusta, la parte principal para mí es hacer sentir bien a las personas durante su visita aquí. Estoy muy contenta y tengo ganas de hacer este trabajo nuevamente y poder encontrar a ustedes y poder ayudarlos. Y siempre mi objetivo es hacer de esta experiencia su mejor experiencia.
Boris, ¿estás allá?
No, Steve,
No, Boris.
se fue. No está.
Está bien,
Ahorita
está
no.
bien. So basically, for those people that aren't quite there yet, Spanish-wise, Blanca is introducing herself, saying the most important thing about she's been teaching for a long time. The best part of her experience in this role is to be able to make sure that people enjoy their time in Guatemala, are comfortable, that learn a lot, and yeah, just really grateful to be able to be a part of the group as well. Um, and if there's anybody else, like Lisa, for example, who is at a Spanish level that can put in anything that I missed as far as what Blanca said, then that would be great. Sori is in the picture here, and Sori is Blanca's older daughter, and she has been helping us out for many years as well as kind of our stand-in translator for because we take people of all Spanish abilities. We do it's culture and language development. So for a lot of the cultural activities, we try to also have Sori available, and Sori is kind of transitioning into Boris because Sori has a job in Antigua at a hostel that she's getting more and more responsibility for. So it's kind of harder and harder to pull her away from that job. But Boris is Sori's younger brother, who is kind of also in that capacity to be able to kind of help out in that way. And then you can see here, as far as Luis, who's here on the bottom part, who not only helps out with all of the in-country driving, but also from the time that you arrive at the airport, whatever your flight is, you just send us your flight information, and Luis is there right outside of customs. With a sign to be able to kind of welcome you and to be able to get you on a van straight to your host family, all the way through, dropping you off at the airport on the other side. But anything that requires transportation, Luis is our guy. Um, and then he also kind of co-leads um, the weekend in Lake Atitlan. So he also helps us out with that, and it's a good way to be able to practice your Spanish too. For me, if I had to say, um, the reason why I really am proud of what we've got going on and what we've kind of developed is that there's so many different opportunities to practice your Spanish in like a non-intimidating way. So from the host family that you stay with to whether it be Blanca or Luis or Boris or your Spanish teacher in the afternoons. You'll see that each afternoon you've got your Spanish class here. And so that's a great opportunity to be able to practice and kind of work on your Spanish. So because sometimes it can be tricky as far as, when you're already intimidated enough and most of us will have a little Duolingo experience or whatever the case may be, but it's really applying that Spanish to be able to kind of make it click. So I just was talking to my friend the other day that has like 1,000-day streak on Duolingo, but still doesn't feel like he's making a lot of headway. And I'm like, hey, come down and join us. So whether that's you or not, like I said, all ability levels, from the very principiante Spanish speaker to an expert, we've had a couple of native Spanish speakers on the cohort as well, and they've been able to get a lot out of the experience as far as the cultural side of things. So yeah, that's another reason why I'm really glad that we have this to be able to kind of open it up to all ability levels. Before we go on to the funding um, side of things, I did want to kind of do a little shout out as far as this graduate credits that we have. So it's 3 credits through a fully accredited college here in Colorado called Western State Colorado University. Shout out to anybody. I know that we had one person that's already, I think, who is it? Um, Leslie, I think. Leslie, did you find out about us through Western? I think that's what you put on your application. So,
Yes, I live right down the road in Montrose. So, yeah, I've been looking at this program for like, I don't know, 5 years. This is my
nice.
year. I'm going. Yes,
Welcome. So glad to have you on
thank
the
you.
call, and I'm looking forward to meeting you down there in Antigua. So glad that you could make it today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
And so yeah, just down the road from where Leslie is, we've got Western State Colorado University, which is also where Lisa lives. So Lisa brought a crew the first time or the second time that she was down there um, from Gunnison, which is where Western State Colorado is. It's a fairly easy way to be able to get 3 graduate credits. It's something that I know for a lot of us, that's kind of determining as far as salary stuff goes. So it does carry an extra fee as far as the credits go, but depending on where you're at as far as your salary scale and all that, I definitely recommend it. I'm the I don't want to say professor because I don't have a PhD, but I'm the instructor on that course. So we have a couple of extra meetings in Guatemala that usually involve happy hour. And other than that, there's like 2 products that you need to turn in. One is like a lesson plan of how you're going to incorporate your experience into whatever you do for as an educator, and the other one is kind of a reflective journal. So highly recommended as far as that goes. And as far as funding goes, and before I do that, I want to be able to make sure that if you guys have any specific questions, um, make sure that you're dropping that in the chat. I think I'll be able to get through the funding portion of it within our time that we have for the recording, but I can always restart the Zoom for questions if we want to kind of have a little question and answer afterwards. Then and I can at least kind of go over on the recording side of things what those questions are. So make sure you're dropping any clarifying or otherwise questions that you have into the chat. And I'll at least make sure to kind of throw those out there before our recording ends. And then I'll reopen the room for those people that want to stick around for those questions. Okay. Um, and it looks like I don't see any questions so far. Micah just wants to
Can
say,
you say that?
Hola, Blanca.
¿Qué quieres decir a Blanca?
Hola, Blanca.
Micah has been getting really good at Spanish and is so excited. Thank you to this program for getting him excited.
Well, and didn't you say that in his school they're doing some stuff with like Guatemalan culture or something like that?
Sí, ¿qué aprendiste en la escuela, Pari?
Bariletes.
Barilete.
Las bariletes.
Oh. Okay. So I do see a couple questions that we'll get into shortly, but I'm just going to do maybe like a 3 or 4 minute as far as this funding type of stuff. I will be putting the slides out there to anybody that was on this call. So as long as you did register on the Google Calendar invite, otherwise you can always reach out to me. I'll have all the contact information and stuff like that to be able to get these slides. And so yeah, funding from your school. I know my school has a really strong, which is actually very rare for a high school because I teach at Durango High School in Colorado. They have a really strong PTO. So there's grants available for teachers for something like this. So that's definitely an option. I know GoFundMe is kind of a cop out, and that's kind of like, I don't want to make it so like, oh yeah, just do a GoFundMe. But if you were to have it started by like a parent, as far as like this is why, it would be great for this teacher to be able to have this type of an experience. And then we have had some people in the past that for whatever reason, like their principal has sent them on a trip like this because there's some extra money available in the general budget when they're kind of starting to kind of figure out whether or not they can go on a trip like that. So that's another option as far as from your school. From your school district, we did have somebody that was a principal out of San Diego. It's a large district, but he kind of wrote this little grant proposal directly to his district that was able to get funded as far as going on this experience back in, I think it was like 2018. And then a lot of districts also have educational foundations that have grant opportunities. And then have worked with a district in Colorado two different districts in Colorado that had equity and diversity departments within that district, usually for like the medium and larger districts that had that. So that's always a possibility as well. Um, so here's the educational foundation that, again, in Durango, thankfully, we do have a really strong educational foundation that I've gotten funded for other elements as well. And then Thompson School District is the one in Loveland, as well as in Fort Collins at the Pooter School District, where they had really strong diversity and equity programs that were able to kind of provide some funding for some of their educators. And then another one that I wanted to mention is with this educational associations, aka unions, and that can be either at the district, state, or national level. The main one that I'm familiar with is the National Education Association, because here in Colorado we have at the national level is that, and then it's the Colorado Educational Association, as well as in my case, the Durango Educational Association, which for me, I believe at all three levels they do have some funding opportunities. So that's another thing I wanted to kind of mention to you guys. And I do have this final slide here that kind of gets into some of those nuts and bolts as far as next steps. So on the website, SpanishForEducators.org, there's a registration tab. And basically, it's a $150 discount up until December 31st. And then the late registration runs through May 30th. I do have a few questions. So, one of the question is, if you don't go on the weekend trip to Lake Atitlan, what do you do instead? Well, you get to be able to just hang out in Antigua, and your host family will be there. I think I saw somewhere, oh yeah, on Sundays, where do we eat? So you do get 3 meals a day on every single day except for Sundays. So they do have it where the families get Sunday as their day off. So that is one thing that as we go through the orientation, and we do have one kind of Zoom orientation with our cohort that happens about, a month before our departure. And we'll go over some of those kind of nuts and bolts as far as that goes. But yeah, there's a lot of yummy food options in Antigua, and Blanca, myself, Luis, we're happy to kind of provide recommendations as far as where to go. And there's a lot of great things to do in Antigua too. So just because you don't go on the lake trip doesn't mean that it won't be a great opportunity to be able to kind of explore Antigua and to be able to check that out. Um, and then, yes, you will be staying in Antigua during the main program. So you are based in Antigua, and you will either be walking in Antigua. It's like this traditional, like 8 block by 8 block kind of colonial town. It's beautiful town, cobblestone streets, and everything is walkable. Um, and if it's not, then we have a meetup point that's walkable from all of our homestay spots that Luis will then step in and we'll meet up at the kind of departure point that we have, which is this church usually. And Luis takes care of it as far as getting us to where we need to go. And then other than that, I'm trying to see any specific questions. Cool. Oh, here we go. I have zero Spanish speaking experience. Does anyone have a recommended pre-trip program I could utilize to learn some basics? Blanca is actually available to do Zoom lessons, so I'm happy to be able to kind of get you in touch with Blanca and set that up. Duolingo's good. I mean, that owl or whatever it is kind of bossy sometimes. So I've kind of stopped doing Duolingo because the owl got a little bit too bossy with my daughters. But it's good to be able to kind of build that vocab. And other than that, I'm going to have to stop here. But if anybody does have any additional questions, I will re-up once I get kicked out. I want to thank you guys so much for being here, especially those alumni. And for everybody else, if you have any additional questions, there's the information as far as the website. My email is on there as well, and my phone number is on there as well. So I'm really happy that you guys were able to join, and especially those alumni. Thank you guys, Micah. It was so great to see you. And